Everyone thought she would burst into tears when they kicked her loyal German shepherd. Instead, this little girl did something no one expected. The ones who had kicked her dog would soon be forced to beg for forgiveness. The sun shone bright over the town fair, casting long shadows across the grass. Stalls lined the edges of the field, their colorful banners fluttering in the breeze. Everywhere Lily looked, there was something to see. Balloons bobbing, children laughing, the smell of kettle corn drifting through the air. But none of it mattered as much as the leash in her hand. At the end of it trotted Max, her German shepherd, his tail wagging so hard it nearly knocked over a row of potted flowers. He wore the red scarf she'd picked out, especially for today's pet show, and his ears perked up every time she spoke his name. "You ready to win?" she asked, giving his head a gentle scratch. Max tilted his face to hers and let out a happy bark as if he understood exactly what was happening. They had practiced all week, walking in a straight line, sitting on command, offering a polite paw. Lily had even made a little routine just in case the judges wanted to see something special. She could hardly believe the day had finally come. As they reached the sign-in table, a group of older boys leaned against the railing nearby, watching them. One of them snickered, elbowing his friend. "Look at that mutt," he said under his breath, but loud enough for Lily to hear. "Probably doesn't even know a single trick." Lily felt her cheeks grow warm, but she kept her chin high. Max pressed closer to her leg, sensing her unease. "Don't listen to them," she whispered, slipping her fingers into the thick fur at his neck. "They don't know you like I do." She took a deep breath, determined not to let anyone ruin the day she and Max had been dreaming about. The boys didn't move on. Instead, they edged closer as Lily led Max toward the practice area. She could feel their eyes following her, waiting for any excuse to laugh. "Hey," one of them called out, "does your dumb dog even know how to sit?" Max paused, glancing up at Lily for reassurance. She swallowed hard, trying to ignore the knot tightening in her stomach. "Just leave us alone," she said quietly, her voice shaking more than she wanted. Another boy smirked and stepped into their path. "Or what?" Max let out a low whine, pressing his side against Lily's leg. She rested her hand on his back, feeling the familiar rise and fall of his breath. He'd never hurt anyone. He just wanted to be loved. But before she could step around them, the first boy suddenly lashed out with his foot. The kick landed hard against Max's ribs. A gasp ripped through the crowd. Max yelped, stumbling sideways and falling to the grass. Lily's world seemed to narrow to that single moment. The pain in Max's eyes, the laughter that bubbled up from one of the boys before he realized no one else was laughing. She dropped to her knees beside Max, gathering his trembling body against her chest. "SH," she whispered, her tears falling into his fur. "I'm here. You're okay. I won't let them hurt you again." For a moment, no one moved. The world seemed to hold its breath as Lily knelt in the grass, her arms wrapped tight around Max's shaking body. She could hear her own heart hammering, feel the heat of everyone's eyes on her. One of the boys cleared his throat, suddenly aware that the crowd had gone silent. "It was just a joke," he mumbled, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Lily lifted her head, tear streaks, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "You don't hurt someone you love. You don't hurt anyone and call it a joke." Max pressed closer to her, his big brown eyes blinking up as if waiting for her to lead. Slowly, Lily rose to her feet, one hand still resting protectively on his back. The boys stared at her, expecting her to back away or burst into sobs. Instead, she looked each of them in the eye, her small hands clenched into trembling fists. "You're cruel," she said, her voice growing stronger. "And you think no one will say it because you're bigger, but I'm saying it." A woman in the crowd pulled out her phone and started recording. Another man stepped forward to stand beside Lily. Then another. One by one, people began to close the circle, their faces hard with disapproval. The tallest boy's face turned red. "We didn't mean." "You did mean it," Lily interrupted. She reached down to help Max stand. Though he wobbled, he stayed by her side. She drew in a shaky breath. You don't get to scare us away. And for the first time, the boys looked smaller than she had ever seen them. The video spread across social media before Lily even made it home that night. By morning, it had been shared thousands of times. Her small voice, trembling, but unbroken, echoed from every screen. You don't hurt anyone and call it a joke. Some people praised her courage. Messages poured in from strangers who said she'd inspired them to stand up for their own pets, their siblings, or even themselves. A woman from 3 towns over wrote, "You reminded me I don't have to be afraid anymore." But not everyone was supportive. A few voices insisted she'd overreacted, that she'd embarrassed those boys on purpose. One comment read, "Kids will be kids. She should have just walked away." Lily read those words sitting cross-legged on her bedroom floor, Max's head resting in her lap. For a moment, doubt crept in. Maybe she really had made too big a scene. Maybe she should have stayed quiet. Her mother knelt beside her, brushing hair back from her face. "You did the right thing," she whispered. That afternoon, a reporter knocked on their door. With cameras rolling, Lily told the story again, her voice clear. She explained why she couldn't pretend nothing happened, why kindness mattered more than pride. By nightfall, the video had 1 million views, and the world was paying attention. The next morning, Lily woke to find her story had traveled even farther. A famous animal rescue organization had shared the video with a caption that read, "This is what bravery looks like." By evening, celebrities were reposting her video, adding messages of support. One actress wrote, "We need more kids like Lily in this world." The boys who had kicked Max finally appeared in a video of their own. With red faces and downcast eyes, they apologized to Lily, to Max, and to everyone who had watched. And beside her, Max lifted his head high as if he understood that somehow the whole world was watching, too. When a reporter asked how she felt, Lily looked straight into the camera. Lily took a deep breath. "I didn't know so many people would care," she began, her voice steady. "But I'm glad they did, because no one should ever feel too small to stand up for what's right." If you were moved by this incredible story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay with us for more heartwarming and unbelievable stories.